Hello everyone, this is Vio-là. I am a Chinese who is currently living in Shenzhen. I noticed that there is lots of information about China on the internet, but most of them are outdated, and the impression is stuck in like 50 or 100 years. Because of the rapid development and change of China, there is an enormous gap between what you've learned about and what it's like in the present. So, I'd like to show you the latest China, like how's the AI going, what impacts does modernization brings to Chinese people's life, and blah blah blah. I recently watched some vlogs of foreign tourists visiting China on YouTube and realized some vloggers mentioned that there is few day-to-day little interactions, especially in modern big cities like Shanghai and Shenzhen, which is also well developed in fields of science and technology and with high demand in efficiency in daily life. You're used to chatting with the staff at the coffee shop downstairs while waiting for it to be made, like, "Hey, how's your dissertation coming along?" Or, "Where going on your Easter vacation?" Whilst in China, it is relatively hard to have a little chat with staffs because they're usually really busy making coffee, like 3 cups in 5 minutes. And when you order food online, you won't even see your delivery man for most of the times. They'll make you a phone call, notify you that your food will soon be arrived, and run away as soon as they drop it off at your door to do the next delivery. I believe one of the reasons is the level of cashlessness in China nowadays. Many vloggers also point out that before visiting China, you need to download 2 apps, WeChat and Alipay, both using as e-payment methods. If you don't carry a barcode on your phone, you may end up with holding a lot of money that can spend on nowhere. Whether you're taking public transportation, grabbing a bite, or even donating to a homeless person, you have to make your phone ready, open your payment barcode, or scan a payment barcode. 1 second later, you hear the voice notification from the opposite side.
支付宝到账100万元.
Another notable feature that China has developed in recent years is the convenient and rapid food delivery. As we know in other countries, the delivery service is usually expensive and not very efficient. When I was in London in 2018, I remember one morning I ordered breakfast via Uber Eats and waited almost an hour for it to arrive. And you cannot expect your food to be delivered upstairs or to the door in the UK at that time. I don't know how it is now, but you know. The deliverer will take it to a appointed place, usually on the side of the road, and it may take minutes to walk to and pick up your food. Delivery in China is now super fast. I've been fed within 15 minutes. Some people like to order online in advance and pick up food in store, especially when ordering beverages such as coffee or milk tea. Usually, the app will show you that how long you should expect your order to be ready to the minute, which allows you to time your arrival. You don't have to waste your time waiting in line, you just pick it up and go. In Chinese tradition, people have very different attitudes towards friends and family and strangers. And the younger Chinese generation usually have different extent of social anxiety. One reason is that in previous times, it is surprisingly important for the Chinese to maintain a good image. Your image not only stands for yourself, but also your entire family. Since you were a child, your parents and grandparents would keep telling you, for example, that you should behave well at school, do not behave as you are at home. You should act like this, act like that. There is a Chinese saying, "Never speak out your family scandals." It means that no matter what problem you have in your personal life, you should always behave well outdoor and don't talk bad about your home or family. We can have a look at a picture of a Chinese traditional living room. Its function is different from the one we are familiar about. The living room is usually understood as a place to come home from work and lie on the couch, under a blanket, watching TV and eating snacks with your partner. By comparison, living room in Chinese is 客厅, which means the spacious room for seeing guests. In ancient times, 客厅 is the biggest room in Chinese house. And traditional Chinese sofas are mostly hard, made by wood, in order to ensure that when you host guests, you have to maintain a good sitting posture, keep a good manner and grace. Considered this way, Chinese people discipline themselves to maintain a business standard equity at all times when they are outdoors. It doesn't mean that everyone can be up to par, but this is the Chinese standard of manner. Therefore, the Chinese older generation always says that you cannot talk about whatever you want outside your home. You must always pay attention to your behavior and your word. Moreover, I believe some of you had heard about the one-child policy in China. This policy had a remarkable effect on social governance and development, but for this generation, they have received far more care from their families compared to those in the family with multiple kids. However, the great attention also undermines the authority of family rules. For example, as a child, you might need help gardening in the backyard, or you should wash your hands as soon as you're back home. There are many soft rules that need to be followed. In modern Chinese families, children may have certain privileges, at least they don't have to continuously pay attention to their equity. This huge difference between internal and external norms and behavior results in severe anxiety about social interaction, which specifically refers to the interaction with strangers in China, and fear of saying or doing something wrong. Because of the huge inconsistency of manner and norms between indoor and outdoor. Consider it as a royal family member needs to watch what he or she says and does at any time when going out, and due to the extremely high standard of perfect behavior, you're going to be more stressed when you are socializing than staying around the people you are comfortable with, which is usually a really small range of people. You want your image to be as perfect as possible. There is this pressure on images in other countries as well, but in addition to what young Chinese expect for themselves, there is more pressure from the family's older generations and cultural factors. So the pressure is very obvious. Historically and culturally speaking, China was built as a farming civilization, where people lived in small villages and community relations were very close. China's urbanization process started relatively late. It began to shift from rural areas to mostly urbanized from the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949, only 77 years till now. In 1949, China's urbanization rate was around 10%, and by 2024, it raised up to 67%. In contrast, the urbanization process in the UK developed naturally along with the Industrial Revolution and lasted about 150 years. Chinese people moved from rural to urban cities in such a short period of time. There will be all kinds of differences in habitation, such as social norms and values. Your parents saw people getting together, gossiping about their neighbors every day when they were little, or they invited neighbors for dinner every week, but fitting in the community turns to be so difficult since they just moved from their farm to the city center. It's so hard for them to keep or make friends. Your neighborhood may change each year, and that is true. Relationships in cities are more temporary and more anonymous. The person you're talking to may find eye contact is offensive, or the lack of eye contact is rude. You'll never know. It results in causing more anxiety for the image-seeking Chinese because keep good manner is an impossible mission to most of the people. There should be a consistency and generally accepted norm at first, and more time for people to learn about it and to speak and behave in the right way. China is still in the period of rapid development nowadays. China's GDP has experienced a hundreds-fold of increase from $12 billion in 1952 to $19 trillion in 2024. That's within a few decades. Although the growth has slowed in recent years, China's GDP still has 5% of growth rate in 2025. Decades of hypergrowth have also affected citizens' lives, such as training to eliminate all inefficient behaviors, like little interactions in person. I think this phenomenon is a bit like the Industrial Revolution in Europe, when society is actually in a high-speed and positive development, whilst for individuals it affects all aspects of life. I'm living in Shenzhen, so let's take Shenzhen as an example. Shenzhen is a city of immigrants. Most of people come here to work and prefer to outsource parts of their daily lives. I call it outsource. They take taxis to and back from work and have takeout meals. Most large companies even reimburse your transportation fee, which means you pay nothing, whatever you take a taxi or a bike or work to your company. Meanwhile, the city's business district is concentrated, and there's usually lack of supporting facilities in the outer surrounding areas. Still, many people choose to live far away from the city center, just like you work in the city of London and live in Cambridge. Commuting becomes really time-consuming in addition to working time, which usually exceeds 8 hours already each day. That leaves no space for work-life balance, thus it's more difficult to hold a relaxed mood and state to chat with strangers. Relaxation is indeed a luxurious lifestyle, actually. I think less day-to-day little interaction is an option that our technology provides. If you don't want to talk to too many people today, you're not in the mood, then in China you can work and live perfectly all day without any contact in person. China will tolerate your social phobia or if you're bad at speech. As for the problems brought about by high-speed development, this is something that each society which is at the same stage has to face and solve. And in the years since the COVID pandemic, it is obvious that China's cultural, entertainment, and tourism industry have made rapid progress. And I believe that in the near future, we will have a diversified lifestyles to choose. Till then, whether or not to make interactions will only depend on your personal choice. Welcome to China to experience another kind of modern life, and I believe you will have a good time. If you're curious about China, or if you've been to China and noticed a lot of strange things, you want to know the causes of these differences, or even if you're currently living in China and still find something you don't understand, subscribe my channel, leave a message, and the following videos will answer your questions and curiosity.